Hello everybody and welcome to Scare Your Friends. My name is John, aka Flea, and tonight we are going to be reading a pretty famous creepypasta created in 2010 by Matt Derskitsky or something. That's, I think, his name. Demersky. Thank you, Dylan. Speaking of the friends that are here, I'm joined tonight by Dylan, along with Dan, Caitlin, and Kevin. What's going on, everybody?
Not mispronouncing names.
Thank you again. Thanks for the backup. I genuinely forgot his name for a second.
Great. Fucking got him, dude.
That's what I did.
Solid.
So anyway, this, I feel like this actually is an appropriate story to read after our last one, because last time we did read Ikbar-Bigglestein, and one of the main themes from reading that was mental illness, and, well, not really even mental illness, just that the guy was just kind of crazy.
Potential mental illness.
Right. And speaking of that, now we have a story today that is literally just named after a actual mental illness, psychosis. So there you go. As far as Ikbar-Bigglestein, does anyone have any additional thoughts regarding that story?
I do, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about it. Since we're doing these again, I went back and I listened to a couple of them, and there's a little bit of like, I can't remember why. I remember there was a point I wanted to make, but now it fucking escapes me. It reminded me a little bit of the one with the demon or the monster in the wall. What the fuck was the name of that story? With the kid?
Bedtime.
Bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that for some reason. Oh, that's what it was. So we were talking about in Ikbar, we were talking about how like the parents didn't get him help after a couple months of like him freaking out and crying. The same thing happens in Bedtime. He freaks out every night, and then his parents Will made the argument that they should have taken him to see a psychiatrist. So I found it funny that, like, similar setup.
Yeah.
Very similar
actually,
setup.
Bedtime is one of those. We actually could keep reading those because there is like multiple parts to Bedtime.
There's more parts to that?
Yeah, it goes on for another few parts.
Yeah.
So we could maybe do that eventually if you guys want.
It's a similar kind of setup, but we kind of had like a similar discussion at one point. So, but yeah, other than that, I don't know. I'm still kind of like lukewarm to that story.
No, that's fair. It's certainly fair. No, I don't think my opinion's really changed much off of the old Ikbar-Bigglestein. A very short story, did its job, and...
Are there other Ikbar stories? Because I feel like...
Well, that I can name off the top of my head.
Okay.
But
I'm sure, you said it's popular, though, so I'm sure people have done, like, their own, like...
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of art to it, but I don't know if there's...
Oh, yeah, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I just got the socks in today. I got the stuffing. I'm not sure you saw it on the floor. I got stuffing and socks. I'm still waiting for striped
The story
socks.
literally inspired Kevin, who's having night terrors recently, to actually make his own sock puppet.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the
help
paper.
with the nightmares.
I swear to God, if you come at me with a hammer and try to take my teeth, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
If I come next week and Caitlin's missing any teeth,
no one can see you, so they're gonna go by what I say.
That's
Dan
true.
has no teeth.
I have no teeth. I have no teeth, and I'm a scream.
This is speaking perfect, though. No teeth.
Not the joke, but okay.
I guess we can just get into the story. It is a pretty long story. Psychosis is old as shit. This thing's been around for
10 years.
A while.
Yeah,
10 years.
2010.
Literally, it's 10-year anniversary just passed. November 3rd, 2010.
Holy cow.
So, a very old story. Lots and lots of if you go to the video section on Google or on YouTube and you look at the story, there's been a lot of narrations. A lot of people have done this. Midnight Marinara did this, which is one of those that I do recommend because they do the radio plays. And so
we've definitely read stuff that's older than that, right?
Probably Squidward Suicide's definitely older than We definitely have, as far as, like, the podcast. Squidward Suicide's older than,
probably
even the wiki.
Put in the comments. By the way, just not to go off and take it, I saw, it was, like, a video, and the guy made an, kind of like a passing by remark that one of the recent episodes of SpongeBob, like, they make a reference to Squidward Suicide.
No, it's straight up in it. Yeah, no, there is
like, you know the famous image where it's, like, his bloodshot eyes? It's like, I saw a clip fast someone just referenced it fast, so they just showed the clip fast because they were talking about something else.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, no, I want to talk more about that. But like SpongeBob, or I think Squidward opens like a door to like another like he's going through doors of like different universes or whatever, and he opens one and it's his own face with bloodshot eyes, and he's like screaming and he closes it.
No, yeah, it's like I didn't watch the episode. But
Neither did I.
It's some sort of thing where SpongeBob and Squidward are in like this dimension with all these doors that lead to other dimensions. And in one of the dimensions is literally the
That's
image.
fucked up.
Yeah. So I spoke to Clark about it, and he's like, I think I literally said, like, you're like responsible for that. And he's like, yeah, no, sucks.
Squidward suicide.
Yeah. So yeah, no, yeah, because Creepypasta doesn't really hit the mainstream that much, but that's definitely one of the few examples I can name of, other than the.
What about Slender Man? He had his own movie.
That's not even really Creepypasta.
I know.
The Candle Cove thing with Channel Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
And No End House.
Didn't they have like 2 or 3 seasons and they canceled it?
I think they tried a third one.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the third.
It was one that we haven't read because I remember reading about it. I remember reading that they had announced.
Oh, Where the
season.
Bad Kids Go, I think is what it was called. Yeah, we haven't read that one yet.
Yeah.
So, at least in this show. All right.
Well, I mean, the show's done. We could just watch the show now. So
we probably could if you really wanted to do that at some point.
I'm pretty sure you guys said you were going to watch it and then, like, review it or something.
We say a lot of things, Kevin, on this podcast.
We do.
We say a lot of things.
Okay. So let's get into it. So the way that this is written, and again, I haven't read this one in a while. It's been a hot minute. I think the first time I read this was back in I was still in college. So 2013, maybe 14, honestly. Because I read this after listening to the
I'm sorry. I misheard you. You were like, when I was in college, 13, 14?
No, 2013.
How smart are you?
No.
No, I know. I understood after. It took me a minute.
Right. So I think the way this is set up, it's set up like a diary entry where the protagonist is talking and it says, well, maybe even not. It just says Sunday and then it says Monday, Tuesday, etc.
Yeah, it's like a journal, yeah.
Sort of.
A journal.
All right, but let's go into it.
Yeah.
So it is now Sunday, and this is the story, Psychosis. I'm not sure why I'm writing this down on paper and not on my computer. I guess I just noticed some odd things. It's not that I don't trust the computer. I just need to organize my thoughts. I need to get down all the details somewhere objective, somewhere I know that what I write can't be deleted or changed. Not that that's happened, it's just everything blurs together here, and the fog of memory lends a strange cast to things. I'm starting to feel cramped in this small apartment. Maybe that's the problem. I just had to go and choose the cheapest apartment, the only one in the basement. The lack of windows down here makes day and night seem to slip by seamlessly. I haven't been out in a few days because I've been working on this programming project so intensely. And I suppose I just wanted to get it done. Hours of sitting and staring at a monitor can make anyone feel strange. I know. But I don't think that's it.
It's the, not to bring too much real world shit in, but reading this, these man, I'm in the basement all day. And there's no windows, and it's been days, and I haven't been outside. It's like, man, this Mark guy really hit 2020 on the head, huh?
I thought you were going to be like, that was me.
No, well, that too. But
all I need is a slice of cheesecake.
It's around that time of year.
Past time you
this whole year has just mentally fucked me up because of that. I'll watch stuff on YouTube from earlier or a movie from last year, and I'm like, oh no, people are touching each other. But yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's keep going. I'm not sure when I started to feel like something was odd. I can't even define what it is. Maybe I just haven't talked to anyone in a while. That's the first thing that crept up on me. Everyone I normally talk to online while I program has been idle. Or they've simply not logged on at all. My instant messages go unanswered. The last email I got from anyone was a friend saying he'd talk to me when he got back from the store, and that was yesterday. I call with my cell phone, but reception's terrible down here. Yeah, that's it. I just need to call someone. I'm gonna go outside.
Well, that didn't work so well. As the tingle of fear fades, I'm feeling a little ridiculous for being scared at all. I looked in the mirror before I went out, but I didn't shave the 2-day stubble I've grown. I figured I was just going out for a quick cell phone call. I did change my shirt, though, because it was lunchtime and I guessed that I'd run into at least one person I knew. That didn't end up happening. I wish it did. When I went out, I opened the door to my small apartment slowly. A small feeling of apprehension had somehow already lodged itself in me. For some indefinable reason, I chalked it up to having not spoken to anyone but myself for a day or two. I peered down the dingy gray hallway, made dingier by the fact that it was a basement hallway. On one end, a large metal door led to the building's furnace room. It was locked, of course. 2 dreary soda machines stood by it. I bought a soda from one the first day I moved in, but it had a 2-year-old expiration date. I'm fairly sure nobody knows those machines are even down here, or my cheap landlady just doesn't care to get them restocked. I closed my door softly and walked the other direction, taking care not to make a sound. I have no idea why I chose to do that, but it was fun giving into the strange impulse not to break the droning hum of the soda machines, at least for the moment. I got to the stairwell and took the stairs up to the building's front door. I looked through the heavy door's small square window and received quite the shock. It was definitely not lunchtime. City gloom hung over the dark street outside, and the traffic lights at the intersection in the distance blinked yellow. Dim clouds, purple and black from the glow of the city, hung overhead. Nothing moved, save the few sidewalk trees that shifted in the wind. I remember shivering, though I wasn't cold. Maybe it was the wind outside? I could vaguely hear it through the heavy metal door, and I knew it was that unique kind of late-night wind, the kind that was constant, cold, and quiet, save for the rhythmic music it made as it passed through countless unseen tree leaves. I decided not to go outside.
Instead, I lifted my cell phone to the door's little window and checked the signal meter. The bars filled up the meter, and I smiled. Time to hear someone else's voice, I remember thinking, relieved. It was such a strange thing to be afraid of nothing. I shook my head, laughing at myself silently. I hit speed dial for my best friend Amy's number and held the phone up to my ear. It rang once, but then it stopped. Nothing happened. I listened to silence for a good 20 seconds, then hung up. I frowned and looked at the signal meter again, still full. I went to dial her number again, but then my phone rang in my hand, startling me. I put it to my ear. "Hello?" I asked, immediately fighting down the small shock at hearing the first spoken voice in days, even if it was my own. I had gotten used to the droning hum of the building's inner workings, my computer, and the soda machines in the hallway. There was no response to my greeting at first, but then finally a voice came. "Hey," said a clear male voice, obviously of college age like me. "Who's this?" "John," I replied, confused. "Oh, sorry, wrong number," he replied, then hung up.
I lowered the phone slowly and leaned against his thick brick wall of the stairwell. That was strange. I looked at my received calls list, but the number was unfamiliar. Before I could think on it further, the phone rang loudly, shocking me yet again. This time I looked at the caller before I answered. It was another unfamiliar number. This time I held the phone up to my ear but said nothing. I heard nothing but the general background noise of a phone. Then a familiar voice broke my tension. "John?" was a single word in Amy's voice. I breathed a sigh of relief. "Hey, it's you," I replied. "Who else would it be?" she responded. "Oh, the number. I'm at a party on 7th Street, and my phone just died as you called me. This is obviously someone else's phone." "Oh, okay," I said. "Where are you?" she asked. My eyes glanced over at the drab whitewashed cylinder block walls and the heavy metal door with its small window. "At my building," I sighed. Just feeling cooped up. I didn't realize it was so late. "You should come here," she said, laughing. "Nah, I don't feel like looking for some strange place by myself in the middle of the night," I said, looking out the window at the silent, windy street that secretly scared me, just a teeny bit. "I think I'm going to keep working or go to bed." "Nonsense," she replied. "I can come get you. Your building is so close to 7th Street, right?" "How drunk are you?" I asked lightheartedly. "You know where I live." "Oh, of course," she said abruptly. "I guess I can't get there by walking, huh?"
"You could if you wanted to waste half an hour," I told her. "Right," she said. "Okay, have to go. Good luck with your work." I lowered the phone once more, looking at the numbers flash as the call ended. Then the droning silence suddenly reasserted itself in my ears. The 2 strange calls and the eerie street outside just drove home my aloneness in this empty stairwell. Perhaps from having seen too many scary movies, I had the sudden, inexplicable idea that something could look in the door's window and see me, some sort of a horrible entity that hovered at the edge of the aloneness, just waiting to creep up on unsuspecting people that strayed too far from other beings.
That was a long one.
That was way too long.
That was a long one.
I knew the fear was irrational, but nobody else was around, so I jumped down the stairs, ran down the hallway into my room, and closed the door as swiftly as I could while still staying silent. Like I said, I feel a little ridiculous for being scared of nothing, and the fear has already faded. Writing this down helps a lot. It makes me realize that nothing is wrong. It filters out half-formed thoughts and fears and leaves only cold, hard facts. It's late. I got a call from a wrong number, and Amy's phone died, so she called me from another number. Nothing strange is happening.
Hold on, because the thing's here.
Okay, yeah.
Do you want to pause it for 2 seconds?
That's fine.
Also, it's creepy. You're John. Person here is John, and our dasher's name is John.
Whoa!
Nate.
We'll be right back.
Go check the phone.
Still, there was something a little off about that conversation. I know it could have been just the alcohol she'd had, or was it even her that seemed off to me? Or was it, yes, that was it. I didn't realize it until this moment. Writing these things down. I knew writing things down would help. She said she was at a party, but I only heard silence in the background. Of course, that doesn't mean anything in particular, as she could have just gone outside to make the call. No, that couldn't be it either. I didn't hear the wind. I need to see if the wind is still blowing.
So that was Sunday. And real quick, I'm just going to quickly read the definition of psychosis according to Google.
Yeah, probably.
A mental disorder in which there is severe loss of contact with reality, evidenced by delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech patterns, and bizarre or catatonic behavior. Disorders are common features of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, etc.
Oh, we're gonna go down the rabbit hole, huh?
Yes, so I guess...
Dylan, pop quiz. What does catatonic mean?
I'm kind of living it right now.
Yeah.
Stunned
silence.
I have no idea what that means.
It's like
you're not really you're.
No, I meant his
very
definition
dead.
of what that means.
I'm kind of living it right now. Aren't we all, Dill? It's funny to me that this story is like, I'm at home, I'm not really seeing anybody. It's like, it's a big mood for this year. Big fucking mood.
Do you think, like, it's obviously you're going into this, reading this by knowing at least the title of it, so
Right.
I feel like you have a general idea of what psychosis is. Do you
Right.
think that they want you to immediately think that maybe these people aren't real, or do you think we're going to get to that point?
It's a good question.
Because, again, I don't mean to put down the story, this is where it goes, but I feel like it's been done before. Like, was a Beautiful Mind, where it's like all those people don't exist. He had schizophrenia.
There's a
So
horror movie like that too.
So I feel like it's...
I don't know
this is too...
I don't know what that is. I don't know what movie that is.
Beautiful Mind?
Yeah.
This is Russell Crowe, who's like a genius mathematician or something.
Right. Okay.
There was another movie called...
I'm not saying that doesn't work, but just to keep on this thing, I don't know when that movie was made, but like...
Around
Early
that time,
2000s?
yeah, probably.
No, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
but my thing is that I feel like it's not going to go that way. I feel like it might pull us that way, might not.
Yeah.
This guy seems like... I felt like this guy just came out of like a fallout shelter. Like, he's like,
Right.
there's no one around. It's
Right.
been expired for 2 years of soda. Like, he doesn't realize he's been programming for that long, you know?
Yeah, it seems a little it seems just mundane enough to be like, yeah, this is just like kind of a loner, right? But then there's just little things that seem off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think
Right.
that, going into it, are you not supposed to think like, oh, he's psychotic, or he has some sort of psychosis? Or...
Well, the thing was when he said he was going outside and it was like turning purple, I'm like, man, this got really Cthulhu-y real fast.
The sky's purple.
The sky's purple, but then also I'm like, I'm waiting for the tentacles to come out the sky.
You've
I don't
never
know.
seen like a purple sky?
Not really, no. Mostly during sunsets, not usually at night.
But that's what
Yeah.
it seems like.
Going into
Right.
sunset.
Sunset usually leads to night, Dylan.
I know that, but I'm saying when the sun's still out and during a sunset, not when it's like there's no sun.
Well, this guy's
Do
like
we have
purple.
an idea what time this is?
He just said night.
It was the whole
I'm
day.
gonna-
This was the whole day. as
Yeah,
well,
that's
so.
true. So it's...
And speaking of which... Oh, do you have something to say?
Well, it's just going back to Kevin's original point. I feel like if this guy, if the writer, which so far is written well, I think there is, it's like a catch-22. It's like it could be subtle, but with a title like Psychosis, it's like you might fall into that pit trap.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? No, and I agree, but I think if it's gonna go down that route, a lesser writer, and we've certainly read some,
Absolutely.
would not name the story Psychosis. They'd be like, oh, I'm gonna name it something clever, like they were never really there, or like something, ghosts or some
Just
shit.
a weird like way of looking at it.
My
Do you
mind's
remember
revelations.
This is a weird way of looking at it, but it always annoys me. Do you remember this one skit from Ways Kids You Know where like the guy's on the phone and they keep kind of like just like pantomiming things to him while he's on the phone, and at the punchline, he's like, "What?" He found out the phone. He's like, "Timmy's choking." They spent 2 minutes, but my point is that the name of the video, every time I looked for it, was Timmy's choking, and people in the comments like, why would you name it that? Because that's the punchline.
Right. It's just fun. It's fun.
It ruins it, because if you're showing it to someone, it's like, oh wait, is Timmy choking? Is that, it ruins it. But I don't think this is the case. I have a good feeling about this, that it's not going to go where we think it's going to go.
Well, we'll see.
I forgot to finish writing last night. I'm not sure what I expected to see when I ran up the stairwell, looking out the heavy metal door's window. I'm feeling ridiculous. Last night's fear seems hazy and unreasonable to me now. I can't wait to go out into the sunlight. I'm gonna check my email, shave, shower, and finally get out of here. Wait, I think I hear something. ...
Asterisks.
Even worse. It was thunder. The whole sunlight and fresh air thing didn't happen. I went out into the stairwell and up the stairs, only to find disappointment. The heavy metal door's little window showed only flowing water, as torrential rain slammed against it. Only a very dim, gloomy light filtered in through the rain. But at least I know it was daytime, even if it was a gray, sticky, wet day. I tried looking out the window, waiting for lighting to eliminate the gloom, but the rain was too heavy, and I couldn't make out anything more than vague weird shapes moving at odd angles in the waves washing down the window. Disappointed, I turned around, but I didn't want to go back to my room. Instead, I wandered further up the stairs, past the first floor and the second. The stairs ended at the third floor, the highest floor in the building. I looked through the glass that ran up the outer wall of the stairwell, but it was that warped, thick kind that scatters the light. Not that there was much to see through the rain to begin with.
I opened the stairwell door and wandered down the hallway. The 10 or so thick wooden doors painted blue a long time ago were all closed. I listened as I walked, but it was the middle of the day, so I wasn't surprised that I heard nothing but the rain outside. As I stood there in the dim hallway listening to the rain, I had the strange fleeting impression that the doors were standing like silent granite monoliths, erected by some ancient forgotten civilization for some unfathomable guardian purpose. Lightning flashed, and I could have sworn that, for just a moment, the old grainy blue wood looked just like rough stone. I laughed at myself for letting my imagination get the best of me. But then it occurred to me that the dim gloom and lightning must mean there was a window somewhere in the hallway. A vague memory surfaced, and I suddenly recalled that the third floor had above and an inset window hallway halfway down the floor's hallway.
Alcove, said above, and an inset window halfway down the floor's hallway.
Why did it look like above to me?
Because it looks like above.
Yeah, the L and the C.
The L and the C look like a B.
It seems like a B, yeah.
My apologies.
No problem. Oh.
You are not forgiven.
I forgive you.
Learn to read.
You're okay, Dylan. You're special.
It's what John says that matters.
Okay? Sure.
You remember that. Excited to look out into the rain.
What the fuck is happening?
Am I going crazy?
Dylan's giving me psychosis.
Excited to look out into the rain and possibly seeing another human being, I quickly walked over to the alcove, finding that large, thin glass window. Rain washed down it as with the front door's window, but I could open this one. I reached a hand out to slide it open, but hesitated. I had the strangest feeling that if I opened that window, I would see something absolutely horrifying on the other side. Everything's been so odd lately, so I came up with a plan, and I came back here to get what I needed. I don't seriously think anything will come of it, but I'm bored. It's raining, and I'm going stir crazy. 2020 in a nutshell. I came back to get my webcam. The cord isn't long enough to reach the third floor by any means, so instead I'm going to hide it between the two soda machines in the dark end of my basement hallway. Run the wire along the wall and under my door, and put the black duct tape over the wire to blend it with the black plastic strip that runs along the base of the hallway's walls. I know this is silly, but I don't have anything better to do.
Well, nothing happened. I propped open the hallway to stairwell door, steeled myself, then flung the heavy front door wide open and ran like hell down the stairs to my room and slammed the door. I watched the webcam on my computer intently, seeing the hallway outside my door and most of the stairwell. I'm watching it right now and I don't see anything interesting. I just wish the camera's position was different so that I could see out the front door. Hey, somebody's online. I got out an older, less functional webcam that I had in my closet to video chat with my friend online. I couldn't really explain to him why I wanted to video chat, but it felt good to see another person's face. He couldn't talk very long, and we didn't talk about anything meaningful, but I feel much better. My strange fear has almost passed. I would feel completely better, but there was something odd about our conversation. I know that I've said that everything has seemed odd, but still. He was very vague in his responses. I can't recall one specific thing that he said to me. No particular name or place or event, but he did ask for my email address to keep in touch. Wait, I just got an email. I'm about to go out. I just got an email from Amy that asked me to meet her for dinner at the place we usually go to. I do love pizza, and I've been eating random food from my poorly stocked fridge for days, so I can't wait. Again, I feel ridiculous about the odd couple of days I've been having. I should destroy this journal when I get back. Oh, another email.
So this is something I'm going to quickly say, because kind of piggybacking off what Dylan said during the Sunday reading part, it is mundane and boring.
Right.
The kind of funny thing that I'm mentioning is, you know how, I don't know if it's a meme, but you know that, like, again, maybe it is a meme where it's like, if you're fighting with your brother, when you're like a little kid, you're fighting with your brother, how it looks to you, it's like this epic clash of warriors, but then like from everyone else's view, it just looks like this pathetic little scrum. That's how this is almost being written. Like he's like, oh, I gotta, like, he's writing it as if a lot of things are happening. Like, oh, I got an email. Oh, I got a webcam. Oh, I have to barrel down.
It's raining, right.
Oh my god, there's rain.
Right.
You know, he's writing it like a lot of things are going on. Right. But then nothing's going on.
Nothing's happening.
It's like when Dylan talks to us about sports, he talks about like, oh my god, this happened and this, and we just don't really care.
Jesus Christ. Just smile and nod.
Kevin, I've told you 1,000 times, if you have a problem with anyone in the friend group, we don't do it over the microphone.
This is the best time.
No, this isn't a friend problem, this is a family problem.
That's a family problem.
Oh, we're going to squash the beef right now.
Let's squash the beef.
It's
next time I help you out with something Diego Maradona related.
This is interesting to me because it's like this person, he's almost like agoraphobic, like he's just terrified to go outside and he keeps making excuses. Like
I can't go outside, it's raining.
Right, it's raining.
Oh, let me all go outside. Oh,
I love the fucking rain. I love walking in the rain.
Did we like it was hot outside? We just all went in the rain.
Yes, we were hanging out in my apartment and we were like, man, it's fucking hot here. We walked outside, it was pouring.
My God,
it was nice.
Drenched.
Yeah,
terrible feeling.
It was okay.
No, because I got home and my head's like, is it raining? I'm like, yeah. it didn't rain like my house yet, but so I couldn't explain to him like, well, it was raining. And I went outside because it felt nice. Yeah,
I just this story is interesting, and it's kind of like it's like the repetition, and that I feel like that's part of it too. That plays a big part in like this person's sort of weird mental state that he's in. Just the repetition. Oh, I'm gonna work. Nothing's going on. I should go outside. Oh, I can't go outside. You know, it's strange. But again, it's mundane, but it's just little things.
I just like that he's writing mundane things, but in this like almost epic like like I have to get downstairs
very writerly
to safety.
Yeah.
Must do what must be right.
Yeah. Right. He's also getting sidetracked really easily as well.
Well, so we've talked about this too, where it's like a character or an author will do like a stream of consciousness thing. And it'll still be a story, but he's just kind of vomiting out his ideas as he goes. This is like legitimately a stream of consciousness. And it's written well. There's a couple sentences are a little too long and like too flowery, but...
Right, but I think again that kind of almost... I'm not an expert, of course, and I didn't study English like you did, but like...
Well, almost I'm not kind of fucking expert either.
I know, but you studied it. Right? So like... But I'm just saying it kind of gives like... credence to like this guy's just sort of mundaneness. Like nothing's happening. But to him it's like
it's the whole world,
what the fuck is happening?
I would want to watch this. Like it's like if this was like a movie type thing.
It's like a Truman Show almost.
Yeah, I know, but it feels like it'd be like a very like indie movie.
It would
where
kind of
no dialogue.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would be kind of like
It's just the room.
like the setting and like the premise would be different, but it's kind of like why am I not remembering the movie? Oh wow. Wow, this is like a really famous movie that I'm forgetting. The one with the volleyball Wilson.
Oh,
Castaway.
Castaway, yeah. It would be like that a little bit, where he,
Yeah.
like, for most of the movie, Tom Hanks
It's just him.
he's not talking.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just acting, but he's not talking. So that's what this would be, I guess.
Mm.
And it's like
Yeah, like an indie film. You ever seen that where it's like it's all about like
So
what they do.
like a college indie film. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where there's no
Shoot in a
dialogue.
single room, and it's just going to be slow violin music playing in the background.
It's all about what's happening. That way, I can market in several countries. And
Right.
All right, let's keep. There's a lot more to read, so
Yeah.
let's keep going.
Yeah.
So, another email, and then
Oh my god, I almost left the email and opened the door. I almost opened the door, but I read the email first. It was from a friend I haven't heard from in a long time, and it was sent to a huge number of emails that must have been every person he had saved in his address list. It had no subject, and it said simply, "Seen with your own eyes, don't trust them, they..." What the hell is that supposed to mean? The words shock me, and I keep going over and over them. Is it a desperate email just sent as something happened? The words are obviously cut off without finishing. On any other day, I would have dismissed this as spam from a computer virus or something, but the words, "seen with your own eyes," I can't help but read over this journal and think back on the last few days and realize that I've not seen another person with my own eyes or talked to another person face to face. The webcam conversation with my friend was so strange, so vague, so eerie. Now that I think about it, was it eerie? Or is the fear clouding my memory? My mind toys with the progression of events that I've written here, pointing out that I have not been presented with one single fact that I did not specifically give out unsuspectingly. The random wrong number that got my name and subsequent strange return call from Amy, the friend that asked for my email address, I messaged him first when I saw him online, and then I got my first email a few minutes after that conversation. Oh my god, that phone call with Amy. I said over the phone, I said that I was within half an hour's walk of 7th Street. They know I'm here. What if they're trying to find me? Where's everyone else? Why haven't I seen any or heard anyone else in days? No, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I need to calm down. This madness needs to end.
oh my god, they faked the moon landing.
Acting!
You want me to follow up after that?
I know, well, it's the other thing I went to college for, so...
Let him continue.
No, that's fine. This is the breaking point, right? This
Well,
guy's
we'll
starting
see.
to go.
That was obviously spam. That annoyed me. But there's something about this where I'm like, I kind of go through the same like thought process sometimes, and now it's creepy because now I'm seeing
Right.
too much of myself.
Right, but he's also...
I'm in this image and I do not like
he's
it.
also trying, like, so hard to rationalize it, so he keeps making excuses so that he doesn't
Gosh.
leave. It's almost, this reminds me of in a weird way They Live, where it's like, you ever see that movie? We've mentioned it before, but it's like, there's aliens out there, but they look like people. That's what it feels like. He's like, I can't go out there. What the fuck's out there? I don't know. I'm safe in here,
You gotta get some special glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to think. I ran about my apartment, furiously holding myself up to every corner to see if it's got a signal through the heavy walls. Finally, in the tiny bathroom, in one ceiling corner, I got a single bar. Holding my phone there, I sent a text message to every number in my list. Not wanting to betray anything about my unfounded fears, I simply sent, "You see anyone face to face lately?"
Could you imagine if you got a text from someone you know that said, Dylan, what would happen if Dan
It's a little
sent,
weird.
Dylan, what would you do if Dan sent you a text message that said, "Hey, you seen anyone face to face lately?"
I'm looking outside my window. Where the
It's a little ominous.
No, I'm
yeah.
looking outside like, where the fuck is he?
It's a little ominous.
I did that to you, I think. I was like, Dan.
Probably.
You looked out the window.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm also thinking, like, if he does have, like, this friend group, if they're, like, out without him, and they're all, like, saying, like, in this situation, we're all like, "You got a text from John? Yeah, what did it say? Have you seen anyone face to face lately?" Like, everyone gets that text in that friend group.
That's the William interpretation that they're all gaslighting him. They're just ignoring him. They all hang out and they just ignore him.
He's the goat man.
He's the goat man. That's what it is. It all comes full
The
circle.
goat man code's on it.
No, he's the SCP with a beak.
It's hard to type text messages with hoops.
No, he did it with his beak. He
did it with
texted
his
with his beak.
Oh man! All right.
At that point, I just want any reply back. I didn't care what the reply was or if I embarrassed myself. I tried to call someone a few times, but I couldn't get my head high enough. And if I brought my cell phone down even an inch, it lost signal. Then I remembered the computer and rushed over to it, instant messaging everyone online. Most were idle or away from their computer. Nobody responding. My messages grew more frantic, and I started telling people where I was and to stop by in person for a host of barely passable reasons. I didn't care about anything by that point. I just needed to see another person.
So I find it odd that in the last paragraph he's like, what if they know where I am? What if they're coming for me? And then he proceeds to tell everyone in his contact
Well, he wants
he
his
is.
friends to be with him.
But
also
it could be anybody.
Right, before you finish, why don't you just finish the last paragraph before Tuesday?
I also tore apart my apartment looking for something that I might have missed. Some way to contact another human being without opening the door. I know it's crazy. I know it's unfounded. But what if? What if? I just need to be sure. I taped the phone to the ceiling in case.
And that's the end of Monday. Pretty normal Monday. Hey, guys.
Jesus Christ.
So, Dill, I think things have ramped up a little bit for you.
No.
Really?
No.
You don't think so at all?
Dylan's like, this is every day for me.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my god, is this attacking me?
It's funny because it's a little bit like when I lived with my parents, because my parents' house was like a dead zone. Like, you couldn't get a cell phone signal. I was in the basement, it was even worse. And I had to do that. I had to like go up to the window.
You couldn't like talk into the phone. Well, I guess you put
No.
a speaker.
I had
but
to
it
go
doesn't have
up
that.
to the window to like
Also,
send a
because
text.
again, this is sort of the recency bias. I don't know if this is recency bias, but like, it's like, oh, I had to hold up. I'm like, well, why not put it on speaker? But then I realized, oh, it's 2010.
Right.
Now everyone has a smartphone.
Right. And there's no, you don't connect to Wi-Fi to get stuff. It's just the signal.
I think I got my first smartphone in 2010.
I know, but like, I'm just saying, not everyone. That's when they were like new.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But
That's when they were like $1 bajillion.
I can't believe that that's when I got my first.
Who's this
smartphone.
Steve Jobs fellow?
Steve Jobs, man.
2010 was like that.
I hope he lives a long and
I
healthy
didn't get
life.
mine till 2015, 2016.
Really?
Yeah, I had the slide phone. John can tell
You're
you.
late to everything, though. That's not too
The
surprising.
earliest creepypastas that we've read, if you remember that, he talks about having a fucking slide phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think when we started is when I actually had a smartphone, but before then I had this inky dinky.
No,
phone.
you had a couple of, you were in a
No, I had
a
no.
podcast.
I think the first
You
time
had
we
a
were doing this,
smart,
I had
phone.
an iPod Touch.
Yeah.
And then I had the Razr because the other phone broke. I was like, oh great, can't.
We've
use
been doing this on and off for like 4 years.
5, I think.
It's 5. We're up to 5. I think about that.
November 2015, I think, was our first episode.
Yep, 5 years.
I just want to point out.
We're the greatest. Jesus.
and I'm ruining it.
No,
You're-
shut up.
Stop.
I just want to point out I bought that smartphone by writing all my friends' senior papers. That's how
Wow.
Yeah.
Plagiarism.
Hustling.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Hustling.
This is being recorded.
You heard it
now.
here, folks.
All right. So Psychosis. Hey, what do we think of that? Caitlin, any thoughts on the story so far?
Don't like it so far.
You don't like it?
So boring. So boring. It's just my life. So boring.
What is that? I feel like we're all like, man, this hits home for a lot of us. What the fuck does that say about us? Honestly.
I don't see my friends that often. I mean, I see you guys every week, but like that's it. Like
I don't count.
I go to
I'm
work
family.
and I come back home.
It's true.
That's it.
I mean, I hate most
Hey,
people.
you
So
see-
I hate most people
You
too.
see me every day.
So anyway,
I'm glad we got married.
should we go? Do you guys need to talk? Or
I mean, this is the same man that called his own wedding a funeral in a couple of episodes ago.
And I was a curator.
The curator, the undertaker. Oh, sorry, the officiant.
Officiant.
the you
curator.
Googleizer?
What?
What?
One who speaks at funerals. It's a Zoolander joke. The eulogy. You pronounce it wrong.
I mean, Dylan could be a botanist. I mean, you need for both. You need.
Dylan could be anything he wants to be when he grows up. Okay,
Yeah, Dylan.
you can
All
do
right,
it.
Psychosis. Eh?
This is
Can
a
I-
weird episode.
I know it really is. Because they're not going to hear it, but there's going to be like 4 edits I'm going to have
Yeah,
to
I
make.
know.
But like
4?
4 massive cuts.
Oh, massive cuts. I'm like, there's gonna be a lot more edits than that.
Hey,
the way
figure it
I'm
this way,
reading.
we're getting more professional. We actually give a shit now.
I think this is what we should do. This is the episode you give Dylan to edit.
Yeah,
I'll
please.
try it. I'll put my hand at it.
It's not space.
Never.
No, absolutely not.
Not the audio, at least.
If you give me the cut, if
All
you
right.
fix the audio.
This
you
is
give me-
All right.
not the time.
This is not the time. All right, Caitlin,
Hi.
why don't you take over for Tuesday?
Tuesday is Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Greatest day of your life.
No.
If this was water, I would have splashed in your face. I just want you to know.
I have eggnog.
The day that M. Bison visited your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was only a Tuesday. You better fucking keep that in.
Okay. Maybe I'm going crazy. That's what
I think we all are. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's the psychosis of 2020.
Yeah, the psychosis of our friend.
Trying to make as much noise as possible so John can't use it.
I'm so good, Caleb.
Did it on purpose.
The phone rang. Exhausted from last night's rampage, I must have fallen asleep. I woke up to the phone ringing and ran into the bathroom. Stood on the toilet and flipped open the phone taped to the ceiling.
There you go.
It was Amy. I feel so much better. She was really worried about me and apparently had been trying to contact me since the last time I talked to her. She's coming over now, and yes, she knows where I am without me telling her. I feel so embarrassed. I am definitely throwing this journal away before anyone sees it. I don't even know why I'm writing it now. Maybe it's just because it's the only communication I have since God knows when. I look like hell, too. I looked in the mirror before I came back here. My eyes are sunken, my stubble is thicker, and I just look generally unhealthy. My apartment is trashed, but I'm not going to clean it up. I think I need someone else to see what I've been through. These past few days have not been normal. I'm not one to imagine things. I know I have been the victim of extreme probability. I probably missed seeing another person a dozen times. I just happened to go out when I was late at night or in the middle of the day when everyone was gone. Everything's perfectly fine. I know this now. Plus, I found something in the closet last night that has helped me tremendously. A television. I set it up just before I wrote this, and it's on in the background. Television has always been an escape for me, and it reminds me that there's a world beyond these dingy brick walls.
That's some. I forgot that line was in there. That's interesting that he just found a TV.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Like, did he forget that he unplugged it? Because
Well,
I could
that he
see
had
that.
one? Right,
I
it's
could
just-
see someone unplugging it, thinking someone's watching them through the. Does that make sense?
But
I don't
but
know.
the way he phrased it, it sounds like he didn't have one. It was just he just found it in there.
It's like, oh, I have.
It's weird. Yeah, it's
I feel
phrased
like
very
it would have
strangely.
felt better if he said a radio. 'Cause I can see someone not having a radio and him being like, I'm listening to music or I'm listening to like the news and that sort of thing. A television's not something you just come upon in like a closet or in the corner. Of the
Right, and also
an apartment,
and
too, which is a
also
lot smaller.
right. Also, if he has a television, what the fuck is he gonna watch? He doesn't. You have to have cable.
And if he's not getting cell phone reception, he's sure as hell not getting television reception down there.
Right. So okay,
Man,
this is
he's
weird.
just watching the static.
Yeah, or just
The white
black,
noise.
the black screen.
Or he's forgetting to say that he had a DVD player.
That could be.
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
No, sorry, a VHS.
No, he has
Because
an HD DVD
At
player.
this
That's
point,
how
I wouldn't put
touchy
it
he is.
past him to literally just have static on in the background.
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
knows something.
Or he has the complete box set of the Community on DVD.
This was way before Community.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry, Golden Girls.
Thank you for being a friend. That's what he needs right now, a friend.
But Amy's coming over.
That's what, yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see if Amy actually comes over. Because this is also
Is
weird.
it Amy or an alien? That
It's
looks
Amy the
like
Hedgehog.
you?
This is also weird. Because he's like, Amy's my best friend. And she doesn't know where he lives. Or he never told her where he lives. That's weird.
No,
She said he does. She does
she
know.
does know.
He doesn't have to tell her.
Right.
Meaning he
that
was
doesn't
the
have
whole
to. He
thing.
doesn't have to.
I misread
tell
that.
everyone else.
My apologies.
Mhm.
I'm glad Amy's the only one that responded to me after last night's frantic pestering of everyone I can contact. She's been my best friend for years. She doesn't know it, but I count on the day that I met her among one of the few moments of true happiness in my life. I remember that warm summer day fondly. It seems a different reality from this dark, rainy, lonely place. I feel like I spent days sitting in that playground, much too old to play, just talking with her and hanging around doing nothing at all. I still feel like I can go back into that moment sometimes, and it reminds me that this damn place is not all that there is. Finally, a knock on the door.
I thought it was odd that I couldn't see her through the camera I hid between the two soda machines. Well, that's already something.
John, what are you doing with the camera between two
the
soda?
two cameras.
Jesus,
Listen, I
man.
gotta be safe. Can't be too careful. There could be a spook out there.
That's true.
Bad plot.
I figured that it was bad positioning. Like when I couldn't see out the front door. I should have known. After the knock, I yelled through the door jokingly that I had a camera between the soda machines because I was embarrassed myself that I had taken this paranoia so far. After I did that, I saw her image walk over to the camera and look down at it. She smiled and waved. "Hey," she said to the camera brightly, giving a wry look. "It's weird, I know," I said into the mic attached to my computer. "I've had a weird few days." "Must have," she replied. "Open the door, John." I hesitated. "How could I be sure?" "Hey, humor me here for a second," I told her through the mic. "Tell me one thing about us. Just prove to me that you're you." She gave the camera a weird look. All right," she said, slowly thinking. "We met randomly at a playground. We were both way too old to be there?" I sighed deeply as reality returned and fear faded. God, I'd been so ridiculous. Of course it was Amy. That day wasn't anywhere in the world except in my memory. I never even mentioned it to anyone. Not out of embarrassment, but out of the strange secret nostalgia and the longing for those days to return. If there was some unknown force at work trying to trick me, as I feared, there was no way they could know about that day. "All right, I'll explain everything," I told her. "Be right there." I ran to my small bathroom and fixed my hair as best I could. I looked like hell, but she would understand. Snickering at my own unbelievable behavior and the mess I made all over the place, I walked to the door. I put my hand on the doorknob and gave the mess one last look. So ridiculous, I thought. My eyes traced over to the half-eaten food lying on the ground, the overflowing trash bin, and the bed I tipped to the side looking for God knows what. I almost turned to the door and opened it, but my eyes fell on one last thing. The old webcam. The one I had used for that eerily vacant chat with my friend.
Its silent black sphere lay haphazardly tossed to the side, its lens pointed at the table where the journal lay. An overwhelming terror took me as I realized that if something could see through the camera, it would have seen what I just wrote about that day. I asked for any one thing about us, and she chose the only thing in the world that I thought they or it did not know. But it did. It did know. It could have been watching me the whole time. I didn't open the door. I screamed. I screamed in uncontrollable terror. I stomped on the old webcam on the floor. The door shook, and the doorknob tried to turn, but I didn't hear Amy's voice through the door. Was the basement door made to keep out drafts too thick, or was Amy not outside? What could have been trying to get in, if not her? What the hell is out there? I saw her on my computer through the camera outside. I had heard her on the speakers through the camera outside, but was it real? How can I know? She's gone now. I screamed and shouted for help. I piled up everything in my apartment against the front door.
And that's the end of Tuesday.
And now we're on Friday. At least I think it's Friday.
I'm starting to feel bad for this guy. This is just a feels pasta.
Deep feels pasta.
Could you imagine, you go to, if you go to a friend's apartment and they tell you all this, and now they ask, just tell me something. I want to know it's you. It's like, this guy's really losing his mind. And, as a friend, if I went to yours, or, I went to Dylan's, or John's, so I felt weird that I just left you out.
I know, it was weird reading
This is John's.
We know what's going to happen, John. He wrote this. That's why we couldn't find it on any other website. I did feel bad.
Open a Google Doc. Don't just trust me.
I feel bad for him.
It's a little.
It is getting creepy, but it's just kind of just crazy. So I don't know. I feel more bad for him.
I feel bad for him too. You bring up a good point. Also, if Amy was his friend, what the fuck did she just go up and leave without saying a word?
That's what's getting me now.
I think
strange,
unless she doesn't exist.
Well,
what
maybe
if he just didn't hear her voice?
she probably was trying to get in when she heard screaming.
But she didn't call anybody. That's the weird thing. If you started hearing screaming, you would call the police or something, right? Or one of the neighbors if he's living in an apartment building.
Also, the other thing is maybe it's just where he put the journal, but the fact that the web camera just kind of...
Yeah, but if it's a web camera from 2010, and it was shitty, that's the thing too. This feeds this is written well enough that it's definitely him being paranoid, right? Deeply paranoid. Because he said this camera's older, it's a lot shittier. The image quality isn't that good. So if it's pointing at a fucking journal that's sitting on a desk further away from the room, there's no way anybody could have read it. let's realistically, right? Maybe. But this guy's just like any little thing to not go outside, to not leave his room.
It's 2010. Do you remember going on chat roulette and hoping to see some 720p titties? And we're supposed to expect that we're supposed to be able to read this guy's journal.
Right.
I'm wondering if he said it out loud while he was writing it, though.
Maybe. No, but
if you're crazy, you talk to yourself.
He explicitly said... I'm talking to myself anyway.
You're crazy.
We know. He explicitly says that the camera's looking at the... or it's facing the journal.
I'm just waiting for that Roddy Piper figure from They Live. Go in there, and that's...
He just kicks open the door with a machine gun.
I'm just waiting for a whole lot of... I'm waiting for the collectible just to be on his desk, and then we're like, okay. He was watching a movie way too late past his bedtime.
He's like that other episode of SpongeBob. When he gets freaked out from the horror movie and he thinks everybody's a robot.
But it also feels like the one where he's just trying to write his essay. He should just go back to programming. But he's looking for any excuse. He's like, hey, Amy, what's up, friends? Why don't you guys come over? We're not going to come over because you need to finish your programming.
Why didn't he just program a friend?
Because that's how sex butlers are made.
Because that's also how you go crazy faster.
That's true. Friday. At least I think it's Friday. I broke everything electronic. Here we go. I smashed my computer to pieces. Every single thing on there could have been accessed by network access, or worse, altered. I'm a programmer. I know. Every little piece of information I gave out since the started. My name, my email, my location, none of it came back from the outside until I gave it out. I've been going over and over what I wrote. I've been pacing back and forth, alternating between stark terror and overpowering disbelief. Sometimes I'm absolutely certain some phantom entity is dead set on the simple goal of getting me to go outside. Back to the beginning, with the phone call from Amy, she was effectively asking me to open the door and go outside. I keep running it through my head. One point of view says I've acted like a madman, and all of this is extreme convergence of probability. He keeps saying that too, that's such a weird way to phrase it. Never going outside at the right times by pure luck. Never seeing another person by pure chance. Getting a random nonsense email from some computer virus at just the right time. The other point of view says that extreme convergence of probability is the reason that whatever's out there hasn't gotten me already. I keep thinking. I never opened the window on the 3rd floor. I never opened the front door until that incredibly stupid stunt with the hidden camera, after which I ran straight to my room and slammed the door. I haven't opened my own solid door since I flung open the front door of the building. Whatever's out there, if anything's out there, never made an appearance in the building before I opened the front door. Maybe the reason it wasn't in the building already was that it was elsewhere getting everyone else. And then it waited until I betrayed my existence by trying to call Amy. A call which didn't work until it called me and asked me my name. Terror literally overwhelms me every time I try to fit the pieces of this nightmare together. That email, short, cut off, was it from someone trying to get the word out? Some friendly voice desperately trying to warn me before it came? Seen with my own eyes, don't trust them. Exactly what I've been so suspicious of. It could have masterful control of all things electronic, practicing its insidious deception to trick me into coming outside. Why can't it get in? It knocked on the door. It must have some solid presence. The door, the image of those doors in the upper hallway as guardian monolith slashes back in my mind every time I trace this path of thoughts. If there is some phantom entity trying to get me to go outside, maybe it can't get through doors. I keep thinking back over all the books I've read or movies I've seen, trying to generate some explanation for this. Doors have always been such an intense foci of human imagination, always seen as wards or portals of special importance, or perhaps the door's just too thick. I know that I couldn't bash through any of the doors in the building, let alone the heavy basement ones. Aside from that, the real question is, why does it even want me? If it just wanted to kill me, it could do it in any number of ways, including just waiting until I starve to death. What if it doesn't want to kill me? What if it's some far more horrific fate in store for me? God, what can I do to escape this nightmare? A knock on the door.
I just see the meme of Charlie Day pointing at
the conspiracy
theory the wall like, it's there! There!
I really want to see visuals of this.
Yeah,
do you know if anyone's made this?
John said there's plenty of YouTube videos about
this. Well,
the
Midnight Marinara is a radio. They do radio drama.
Yeah.
So someone would be acting the same.
I don't know. I feel like I do a little bit of radio drama there myself. But,
and my response to that...
Not to toot my own horn, but...
My response?
What the hell's dramatic
Scotty,
and antiquated?
Take it down a notch.
Oh.
What just happened?
I am never... This is the last night you're going to see me. I'm gonna lock myself in my
You're gonna
room
hide behind the door?
and go crazy.
You're gonna hide behind a door? Big old thick door?
So every other day.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder how.
Except Sunday. This is our day.
I wonder how this is kind of interesting. How I wonder, like, and no one would ever, we wouldn't know this, but like, I wonder how often this happens. Like, people just.
I feel like a lot more this year. I know we keep going back to it, but
Actually, what you're saying is made me think that, like, I feel like Amy wasn't so put off by any of this, if that's actually her, where she's like, John's going through one of his episodes again. So maybe she's like,
see,
maybe she's like, he's just, I'll go talk to him tomorrow when he's calmer or whatever.
right. That's what I'm thinking too. That like this is another one of these instances of unreliable narrators, right?
Oh, absolutely.
This guy is going
Well, absolutely.
crazy, especially after this paragraph. He's losing it. But it's like, what? To me, it just there's something off-putting about his relationship with Amy. Like, and I don't know what it is, but I feel like you're right. I get the same kind of suspicion that she's like, it's almost like a toxic relationship. Like every now and again, he'll go a little crazy and he'll like call for her and then she's like, oh, he's on his own bullshit again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just get that vibe.
Maybe it's gonna end where he's just like, I can't deal with it anymore, and he doesn't even he doesn't even trust the journal anymore. He's like, I'm gonna rip this up, and then it's like Sunday. I'm not sure why I'm writing this down on paper. So it's like
man,
so it's like
the circle.
Yeah, it's like Waiting for Godot type thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, let's go, yes, let's, and it just starts over again.
Yep. All right. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh man, I gotta do this. I lost my place because I had to look up the first line again.
Oh boy.
I'm on Tuesday.
Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Isn't that the same time that stupid song came out?
It's Friday.
Wasn't that around the same
Gotta
time?
get down on Friday. I think so. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
Do I have to reach over the table and smack you?
Yeah.
Party.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm about to break COVID rules and just
Why?
come over and slap
It's a
you.
good- It's a good song. Why you got a hand on Rebecca Black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebecca Black?
Oh, who fucking cares?
She's on TikTok now.
She's on TikTok. Well,
Why do you know that?
Who the fuck isn't on TikTok? Everybody's on TikTok.
I don't think banned that in the United States.
No.
No, not yet.
We're not going on this tangent.
I told the people on the other side of the door, I need a minute to think, and I'll come out. I'm really just writing this down so I can figure out what to do. At least this time I heard their voices. My paranoia, and yes, I recognize I'm being paranoid, has me thinking all sorts of ways that their voices could be faked electronically. There could be nothing but speakers outside, simulating human voices. But it did really take them 3 days to come talk to me? Amy's supposedly out there, along with 2 policemen and a psychiatrist.
There it is. There it is.
I don't know where this is going. Maybe it took...
We always do that.
Man, now I'm sad. Maybe it took them 3 days to think of what to say to me. The psychiatrist claimed could be pretty convincing if I decided to think this has all been a crazy misunderstanding, and not some entity trying to trick me into opening the door. The psychiatrist had an older voice, authoritarian, but still caring. I liked it. I'm desperate just to see someone with my own eyes. He said I have something called psychosis, and I'm just one of a nationwide epidemic of thousands of people having breakdowns triggered by suggestive email that got through somehow. I swear he said got through somehow. I think he means spread throughout the country inexplicably. I'm incredibly suspicious that the entity slipped up and revealed something. He said I'm part of a wave of emergent behavior. That a lot of other people are having the same problem with the same fears, even though we've never communicated.
Can I say something? And I like this paragraph because the narrator is crazy, probably, right? He's definitely losing his mind through loneliness, or whatever the case may be. But the psychiatrist, and it sounds like cyberpsychosis sounds like pop psych bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can see both sides of the argument where he's like, he sounds convincing, but I don't know, I think he slipped up. It sounds like bullshit. It does sound like
I feel
web
like it's
bullshit.
I also feel like it's like something that like the news is going to run with, like an article
Right,
published
right.
today.
That's what I'm saying.
Does your child have
Right.
cyberpsychosis?
Right. It's pop psych bullshit.
Right. It's like, oh, they might be addicted to the internet.
So I like this. I like
Video
it.
game
Like,
addicts.
he is taking it to the far extreme where he's like, this can't be real. It can't be real. That sounds ridiculous. He slipped up. But I'm sitting here like, no, it sounds like bullshit, but I mean, this guy's also insane. So
Maybe it's the writer doesn't know how to write something that sounds compelling.
No, I think it's
No.
intentional. I think it's intentional.
Question though, I meant to ask this a while back. Dave pointed out, he keeps saying this phrase about probability
of convergence.
Does that mean anything to you as a statistic?
Probability
person?
of convergence. I mean,
or is he just
I
like
would
going off the
assume
deep
It
end?
sounds weird. Yeah.
I would assume it's like some sort of like, the probability is that there's nothing, is my guess. Like
He's expecting something to happen and it keeps not happening. We can look it up later. It's almost like synchronicity.
Yeah. I don't know. I think early on he was saying it because he's like, okay, I know that there's probably nothing out there.
But it's such a weird, it's so specific a phrase.
I'm not even sure. I think the first.
We'll look it up.
Just
We'll look it up
bullshit
afterwards.
too.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep going.
Okay, we just continue.
She lose it. Everybody keeps losing it.
I think she was looking that phrase up.
I was. It literally makes no sense because it's all math. So you're gonna have to.
What the
translate
fuck?
it
You
for-
should know this then.
No, I have to read now.
Oh,
We'll talk about it after.
Talk about it later.
Yeah. That neatly explains the strange email about the eyes that I got. I didn't get the original triggering email. I got a descendant of it. My friend could have broken down too and tried to warn everyone who knew against the paranoid fears. That's how the problem spreads, the psychiatrist claims. I could have spread it too with my text and instant messages online to everybody I know. One of those people might be melting down right now, after being triggered by something I sent them, after they might interpret any way that they want, something like a text saying, "Seen anyone's face lately?" The psychiatrist told me that he didn't want to lose another one, that people like me are intelligent and that's our downfall. We draw connections so well that we draw them even when we shouldn't be there. He said it's easy to get caught up in paranoia in our fast-paced world, a constantly changing place where more and more of our interaction is simulated. I have to give him one thing. It's a great explanation. It neatly explains everything. It perfectly explains everything. In fact, I have every reason to shake off this nightmarish fear that something or consciousness or being out there wants me to open the door so it can capture me for some horrible fate worse than death. It would be foolish, after hearing that explanation, to stay in here until I starve to death, just to spite the entity that might have got everyone else. It would be foolish to think that after hearing that explanation, I might be one of the last people left alive in an empty world, hiding in my secure basement room, spiting some unthinkable, deceptive entity just by refusing to be captured. It's a perfect explanation for every single strange thing I've seen or heard, and I may have every reason in the world to let go of all my fears and open the door. That's exactly why I'm not going.
I think that's interesting. I think he might also be, trying to, play along with his delusions.
Right.
I mean, this whole time he's been trying to come up with any reason not to open the door anyway. But at the same time, unless he's misunderstanding what the psychiatrist is saying, and this is what if we were to assume that this is what the psychiatrist is actually telling him, that sounds a little suspicious to me.
But this is also coming off a little preachy.
I know.
Like, oh, you kids in your internet, you're on there all the time, you're all going crazy, you're hurting each other, blah, 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 you know?
I wonder where technology will be 10 years from now.
Right.
Or reading this from a smartphone.
Right.
But no, I'm saying, you're going to hate to always point this out, but, in SVU, there's been points where they've had to deal with...
I hate that. It's the greatest show ever.
Because he always, of course SVU. But there's been points where, they'll deal with someone who's, psychotic, and delusions, and they'll have BD Wong come in and be like, no, you're right, there are people after you, but if you can tell us where this girl was when she was raped, then you can tell us why she was...
Right. He's got to,
You're going to have to cut that out, I'm sorry.
It's
Because it's YouTube still. But, why is this girl missing? Can you tell us so they won't get you? They'll play into their delusions.
Right.
So I feel like maybe if he's talking through a door, saying no, there's people in my computer, there's people in the webcam, he might be like, oh yeah, you're just suffering through something, and making stuff up on the fly.
Right.
And it might fit perfectly because the psychiatrist might be rationalizing. He's like, well then why is it this? And he's
right, but again, this character's playing into the stream. It's like, this is a fucking evil force that's trying to take me. But it's interesting because he's talking to himself. He's talking to himself.
He's writing this.
He's writing it to himself and talking to himself. And he keeps telling himself, I know I'm being paranoid, but what about this? He's just
also, here's the other
into
thing.
it.
This isn't happening in real time almost.
Right.
This happens, and he's like, all right, let me think about it. And he
Right.
sits down with his freaking journal and writes all this out.
Right, and he doesn't even know what day it is. He thinks it's Friday. He doesn't even know.
Did he say he thinks it's Friday?
Yes, that's
He
what
says
it's
he
titled,
believes it's
because
Friday.
I think it's Friday. But, like, I just love the idea, because this is, I mean, it seems like this is something that, with this level of, like, mental deficiency, or whatever you want to call it, would do. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm being crazy. I know I'm being paranoid. But there's 2 fake policemen and my best friend, a psychiatrist outside. They're trying to get me to come out so they can eat me. And it's like, dude, you're freaking out.
Juicy fruit?
It's
Fresca.
John, have a Snickers.
I was gonna make the same
Oh
joke.
my god, this would be an incredible Snickers commercial if they just
The
adapted
longest
this.
Snickers commercial ever.
Okay, so that's what we do. We're gonna film this, and at the end, they open
It's
the
just a
door, and he's
Snickers
like, no, and she's like, John, have a Snickers. What? You're not you when you're hungry. And he just takes a bite, and, like, it shows the room.
sun
perfectly
clears.
clean. Like, the room's no longer dingy. We're using, like, all...
He's in a padded cell.
we're using cool colors and lighting. It's
Yeah.
very cinematic. But he takes a bite and has warm colors, and his apartment's perfectly clean. And Amy's like, better? He's like, better. You're not you when you're hungry. Psychosis.
And the psychiatrist walks by the camera and goes, we got him.
Yeah, exactly.
Written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Alright. So, he basically decides this is not what he's going to do.
Right.
How can I be sure? How can I know what's real and what's deception? All these damn things with their wires and their signals that originate from some unseen origin. They're not real. I can't be sure. Signals through a camera, faked video, deceptive phone calls, emails, even the television lying broken on the floor. How can I possibly know it's real? It's just signals, waves, light, the door. It's bashing on the door. It's trying to get in. What insane mechanical contrivance could be using to simulate the sound of men attacking the heavy wooden door so well? At least I'll finally see it with my own eyes. There's nothing left in here for it to deceive me with. I've ripped apart everything else. It can't deceive my eyes, can it? Seen with your own eyes. Don't trust them. Wait. Was that desperate message trying to tell me to trust my own eyes, or warning me about my eyes too? Oh my god, what's the difference between a camera and my eyes? They both turn light into electrical signals. They're the same. I can't be deceived. I have to be sure. I have to be sure. Date unknown. I calmly asked for paper and pen, day in and day out, until it finally gave them to me. Not that it matters. What am I going to do? Poke my eyes out? The bandages feel like a part of me now. The pain is gone. I figure this will be one of my last chances to write legibly, as, without my sight to correct mistakes, my hands will slowly forget the motions involved.
Hold on. Did he remove his eyeballs?
Yeah, he's blind. He blinded himself. Did a big ol' Oedipus. That's what he did.
And he also keeps saying it. Like, there's not a human. There's no human. There's no male or female. It's it.
He's saying it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what he was panicking about. What's the difference between the camera and my eyes? Right. Don't trust your eyes.
Right.
You can't trust
This is like the other. What was it, Ikbar?
Yeah, because he
Like,
kind of.
yeah, I'm now 23 with dentures. What?
Yeah. That's why he said the bandages feel like a part of me now. Mm. The pain is gone. I figured it will be one of my last chances to write legibly, as, without my sight to correct mistakes, my hands will slowly forget the motions involved. This is a sort of self-indulgence, this writing. It's a relic of another time, because I'm certain everyone left in the world is dead. Or something far worse.
May I? I sit against the pattern.
No.
Why not?
No. Now's not the time.
Now's not the time.
I sit.
Read the room, Dylan.
Yeah, you bunch of fucks. I sit against the padded wall day in and day out. Entity brings me food and water. It masks itself as a kind nurse, as an unsympathetic doctor. I think it knows that my hearing has sharpened considerably now that I live in darkness. It fakes conversations in the hallways on the off chance that I might overhear. One of the nurses talks about having a baby soon. One of the doctors lost his wife in a car accident. None of it matters. None of it is real. None of it gets to me. Not like she does. That's the worst part. The part I almost can't handle. The thing comes to me masquerading as Amy. Its recreation is perfect. It sounds exactly like Amy. Feels exactly like her. It even produces a reasonable facsimile of...
Yeah.
I got it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Yay! No bad itself for me. It even produces a reasonable...
Well, let's not.
This is a piece for myself. It even produces a reasonable facsimile of tears that it makes me feel on its lifelike cheeks. When it first dragged me here, it told me all the things I wanted to hear. It told me that she loved me, that she had always loved me, that it didn't understand why I did this, that we could still have a life together. If only I would stop insisting that I was being deceived. It wanted me to believe. No, it needed me to believe that she was real. I almost fell for it. I really did. I doubted myself for the longest time. In the end, though, it was all too perfect, too flawless, and too real. The false Amy used to come every day, and then every week, and finally stopped coming altogether. But I don't think the entity will give up. I think the waiting game is just another one of its gambits. I will resist it for the rest of my life, if I have to. I don't know what happened to the rest of the world, but I do know that this thing needs me to fall for its deceptions. If it needs that, then maybe, just maybe, I'm a thorn in its agenda. Maybe Amy is still alive out there somewhere, kept alive only by my will to resist the deceiver. I hold on to that hope, rocking back and forth in my cell to pass the time. I will never give in. I will never break. I am a hero.
The doctor read the paper the patient had scribbled on. It was barely readable, written in the shaky script of one who could not see. He wanted to smile at the man's steadfast resolve, a reminder of the human will to survive, but he knew that the patient was completely delusional. After all, the same man would have fallen for the deception long ago. The doctor wanted to smile. He wanted to whisper words of encouragement to the delusional man. He wanted to scream, but the nerve filaments wrapped around his head and into his eyes made him do otherwise. His body walked into the cell like a puppet and told the patient once more that he was wrong, that there was nobody trying to deceive him.
And that was Psychosis. So, what do we think?
I want
I'm
my
out.
ice cream.
Yeah, so, yeah, that ending really ruined it.
Yeah.
First of all,
The ending is It's an interesting idea, but
it absolutely ruined it. This is like Russian sleep experiment levels of dumb. I'm not even joking. I was fine up until that last paragraph.
I was interested because you're like with the idea is like, oh, it's not actually her. Like him really like no, it's all fake because there is some called I think it's called Capgras delusion.
Sure.
Where it's no, it's a real thing. It's where people believe that people close to them have been replaced with an imposter.
Right.
So it is there's a lot of like real things. Like I feel like it does a good job of describing what someone under psychosis would go through.
We're going to go back to what you said at the beginning. The title Psychosis and what's going on in the story. Right?
I see what you mean, yeah. Now that we're done, we can go back and
Right.
think, was it meant to pull us down that road or were we meant to believe him?
This is another story where there's no ambiguity now.
Yeah.
This story went on for like 5 paragraphs too long. And then you get that twist in the end that feels like it's thrown in just to throw the reader off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Shyamalan.
Right. Like this is Psychosis. This
right.
guy's clearly going crazy. LOL JK, it actually is a monster trying to eat him or whatever it's trying to do. And that really, really just...
It should have just ended at Friday.
Right.
It should just end at Friday because I'm like...
It shouldn't have had that last paragraph at all.
Right.
No.
It would have been fine.
Even him in the insane asylum, I think is too much.
Yeah.
I think the unknown, like if it would have ended, they're banging on the door, they're knocking, and that's the last thing he ever writes.
No.
Just so we can. This is the problem. We can't speculate on anything. We can't even be like, well, he's crazy, so they're trying to heal him. The last paragraph is like, no, there actually is a monster trying to. He's the last man on Earth, and they're.
It's the man.
Right, and also, what is this thing's goal? Right, because he's trying to speculate about it.
It seems like, because I've seen reading this, it kind of reads like something I would write. Because I like to add.
Dylan, you can write a lot fucking better than this.
The thing is, because I see a lot of detail added into this, unnecessarily added to this, and it got to the point where at the end, like I can see where at the end when he's writing the story, just to add that, that's
right, but that's what I'm saying.
The
twist for the sake of the twist, because the story is named Psychosis. So everyone's like, oh, it's got to be about a guy going crazy. Haha, we've already figured it out. This is a lame ride. But it's even lamer that the author felt that he needed to include, haha, it actually is an evil monster.
Yeah.
It's like, that's dumb.
I would have liked the ambiguity to just be like, so did he go to that padded cell?
It's also this is so long of a story, and for it to end with a gotcha is fucking obnoxious. It's like the Russian sleep experiment. It really is.
Yeah, in a sense.
It's like a... Well, I'm not sure... We've always talked about it, but I'm not sure if you have gone to Pete Night. But one of the things...
I want to so bad.
One of the things that they say is, like, they make you, like, do this pledge. At least the ones I go to.
Right.
And they say, like, one of the things they say is, like, I can't stop playing with it, which is supposed to sound kind of crude, you know? But the point is that you can't, you know,
it's
you
never
gotta
going to be perfect.
Yeah, so, like, there's times where, like, I'm like, oh, this looks fine, but I want to fix this corner. I keep adding more paint to it and spinning the colors. I'm like, now the color is completely off and it's ruined. So I feel like as this person's writing it, he keeps creating more ideas that he's like, I know where this is going to go. I know where I'm going to end it. Because as the author, it's hard for you to just put down that pen and be like, this is it.
Right. This ran a little...
I am looking, because I know where everyone's going with this, and I tend to agree. I do wonder if there's another interpretation for this ending.
I'm
sure there
is,
he
but
literally
it just comes off like...
I know that's where it comes off at first, but it does say that the patient is completely delusional. But I don't know what that means. The same with inception. I guess the implication is
the sentence before is that any sane man would have accepted the trick. So this is a thing that's kept him prisoner for some reason. Like, that's cut and dry, right? And it just completely ruins the story for me. But the one thing that I will say that at least is somewhat clever is that this guy, who we perceive as insane, is 100% right, and it's the only thing that's keeping him alive for some reason. We don't even know why, right? It's like Chicken Little, right? The boy who cried wolf, right? I'm crazy, but it actually is happening, and being cautious, or in this case, insane, is keeping me safe.
Then you should listen to me because, you know, even though I may sound insane, I'm saving your lives. I just scrolled through, like, the comments to see, like, what everyone else was thinking, and about 85% of them was like, oh, I like the twist at the end. And I'm like...
It's so lame.
And I'm like, reading it doesn't... I don't know how you... Because that was a twist.
Right.
It was just, like you said, it was leading up to
It's a twist, and it feels like tonally... I wouldn't even say it comes out of nowhere in terms of the story, because this guy is talking about it. He's forming this reality in his head, but tonally it just completely just
it
ruins
led up
it.
to it. Like, some people were saying, you know, how they liked it going in, like, oh, I didn't expect it to go that way. It's like, I wasn't expecting it to go that way. I was actually hoping it wouldn't go that way, and then you took out
but again,
what I want to think.
It's too long.
And everyone's calling it, like, one of the greatest Creepypasta. I'm like,
it's great until the last paragraph.
It's great. And
it's similar to Russian, because again, when you feel nostalgic for these stories, you think of, like, the majority of the story, not necessarily the end, or even, like, what happens at the end, but you think about, like, the Russian sleep experiment. There was a lot of really cool things going on in that story.
It's great until the last paragraph,
Right. What's interesting that I've just realized, and in no way is this an advertisement for anything, but the guy, Matt Dymersky, actually published a book called Psychosis, Tales of Horror.
Okay.
It's on Amazon.
So is this, like, one
so
of the
I don't know.
stories in there?
No, I don't know if...
Are you going to buy this one, Dan?
Probably not after reading this.
It's 94 pages.
So it might just be the story.
It might just be the story. Maybe it's like the Pen Pal book where it's the exact same story but longer.
I want it to be this story but handwritten. And the last page is like a doctor's note.
Then it's the doctor's note. Or the alien note. Or whatever the fuck this thing is.
And the only reason I say this is because I literally wrote something like that in 2010, actually. That's... No, but it was like the way I was supposed to do it was like it was supposed to be like a handwritten journal with like actually a psychologist's interpretation at the end.
I mean, the mundanity at the beginning. So again, it's a little long, runs a little long in the tooth. Maybe cut a couple things here and there. But the mundanity I liked because this is just a normal guy. This is just an everyday guy. And he slowly descends into madness. And that's fine. I loved all of that. It's just that final paragraph. Yeah. That really just Game of Thrones did completely. Get it out. Get it out of here.
It's a fair critique.
It's one of those things where you had something going and you really wanted a shock. To some people, like not the people in the room here, because we all have higher expectations for creepypastas now that we've gotten ourselves acclimated to a lot over the past 5 years. But now, like, I see, like, just read, like, before I was saying, reading the comments, like, you know, I can see to newer readers how that would be like, oh my god.
Right.
But, like, to us,
it's
more
tropey at this point.
It's trope. It's gotten so tropey. It's like,
and it's not even. I would make the argument that it's not even tropey in terms of creepypasta. There's so many fucking horror movies.
Do that
right
shit.
Even now that do that shit where it's the twist ending, it doesn't even necessarily make sense a lot of the time, but it's like, ha, gotcha, they're not actually safe, the killer's still out there, or the monster's still out there, and it's that is so lame, right?
The end,
right? Question mark and blood. It's so lame.
Well, it's like I like to compare this to Michael Jackson's Thriller, where it's like, oh, throughout the movie, the girlfriend's freaking out that Michael Jackson is the monster, and then the monster, and then it's like, oh, see, everything's safe after the whole thing ends, and then he turns around, he is the monster. It's like,
but that's a 6-minute music video.
But I'm saying this is what I kind of.
This is an hour and a half, or a movie's 2 hours, and you get that at the end, and you're like, fuck this.
John, you said this is a popular one.
It's a very popular story.
Why?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I want to say, like,
Why?
What makes this iconic? Like, for example,
I was reading it, and people said the ending.
The ending.
They love the ending.
No, the ending's terrible.
But that's the thing. Most of the comments say that ending was great. And
These are the same people that love Jeff the Killer, unironically.
Okay, well, see, what makes Jeff the Killer iconic is the image, though. That's although I just heard something very interesting that they can't find the original image, like that was photoshopped from that.
Yeah.
They can't find it. I thought that's more creepy than the actual story.
Oh, that's can we go back? I'm just remembering now. Convergence of probability. Can we figure out what the fuck that means?
Caitlin had that up. But yeah, so like, there's no image here that makes it iconic. There's nothing. Right. There's no character.
It's a twist, which is a bad twist.
I mean, maybe it's if people like the twist, they like the twist. I mean, it's a well-written story for 98% of it.
Oh yeah.
And I think, it takes you down a wild ride. I think a lot of people, even at one point, Kevin said this I feel sad for this person.
Right.
I feel scared for this person. I feel like this person. I think one of you said that at some point.
The end seems like an afterthought. It really does.
Maybe.
Because like we said, the title, Psychosis, right? Oh, we know what this is about. And I feel like, I don't know, it just comes off.
I guess I keep looking at the ending.
You think you know what this is about, but haha!
I keep looking at the end and trying to see if there's some other thing to pull out.
I'm sure there is.
And maybe there is. It's just, but yeah, I don't agree with the way that. Honestly, the first paragraph of the Doctor is fine. Like, clearly man's delusional, but he's like admiring in like a weird kind of way, like his resolve,
right? Which
I guess could be seen as admirable for like a crazy person.
The monster's admiring this crazy man.
Well, this comment.
I mean, just like in general, like
Well, this comment this person had a year ago. The plot twist changes everything from a depressing story about a man going insane due to his irrational fears to the story of nearly everyone in the world relying on him to stay away from the trap set by a creature that would nearly kill anyone else. I love that. I love the thought that this means that the characters like Amy, who are being controlled by the creature, are actually literally being kept alive by his will to stay alive, as it would just discard them if he gave in to its deception. Also, they would be so proud to see him figure out its way of defeating him, like when he discovers it's not her. Or the biggest example is him stabbing his eyes, which is if he didn't, have most likely ended up with him being controlled.
But
okay, right. But it's still... But we don't know this thing's motivation. We don't know how
we also don't know it's keeping Amy alive. Like, we don't know...
Well, I guess it says at the end, it's the way it explains the Doctor's perception, it's clearly like this thing is mind-controlling people, kind of like Invasion of... It's the fucking page crash. Kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yeah. Where it's like the optic nerves of the Doctor. This thing is like in its brain.
Well, that's where you get... where a lot of people draw comparisons with Capper's delusion. They call it like body snatcher syndrome or something like that. Right.
Maybe it's that. Maybe that's the interpretation. Maybe that's what the author meant. But I doubt it. Again, maybe the story was meant. It just feels like
meant to make us go crazy. Right.
It just feels like you think this is about a guy going crazy? Ha ha! It really is some kind of, and it's just like, no, dude, that's not clever. It's not interesting.
You basically told us, and you were like, hey, here's a twist, but there really wasn't a twist, because that's what you were leading
tonally, it comes out of fucking nowhere. Like even
I'm done with this.
it wasn't
It
it wasn't even clever either. Like because he makes the again. It's a little too long. The last couple paragraphs should have been cut or unknown or whatever the case may be. But like the fact that this guy is so the way this character, this narrator is written, he becomes so unreliable at the end that you basically write yourself into a corner. And you're like, well, this is the twist that I have. How the fuck am I going to make anybody believe that this is actually what's happening through this author's perspective? And it's like, well, I can't. So now I have to make another first person about an alien or some creature.
He forced it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I can't. This twist that I have, I can't figure out how people will get it or make it believable to the reader that this narrator is right. So I have to just change perspectives in the last paragraph.
It was because of that idea he got Psychosis that he had to put it in.
Right.
Did you figure out what this means?
No, this doesn't make any sense.
Go ahead.
Listen, neither did the Creepypasta. Just trying to figure it out. I'm pretty sure this would make more sense.
It was more like a creepy noodle.
Yeah.
Pasta.
Hold on, now I'm trying to get past all the fucking jargon.
It's a sad orzo. It's not even a full piece of pasta.
A sad bow tie.
Hold on, let me go back.
It's like an angel hair.
It's an oh-no orzo.
Okay. So, the definition of convergence in probability
Listen up, math boy.
implies convergence in distribution. In the opposite direction, convergence in distribution implies convergence in probability when the limiting random variable x is a constant. Does that fucking make sense to you? Because it doesn't make any sense to me.
What the hell are you talking about?
It was like, okay, so basically it said...
You said it was math, you said X. Why are there letters in my math?
Convergence of probability is the opposite of this. This is the opposite of convergence of probability.
It's
what
like
the fuck?
It's like, what does this mean?
It doesn't... I'll say, yeah.
It's like when you look something up and...
I'm not going to get into...
probability mean? It means
look, I'm not...
What's disillusionment? The act of being delusioned. Thank you!
This is like when, and I'm going to get super nerdy, but when you go into the back of the player's handbook for D&D, and it's like, healing, see magic. Thanks!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the jargon of it, but, like, it doesn't make any sense with the character, which I think that's the point, because I think that's kind of the purpose at the beginning.
Right, because
he's not
sense
making a lot of sense.
thematically, because that doesn't make any sense, and neither does this fucking story.
Not thematically, mathematically.
Mathematically.
Right.
Okay. So I guess we'll just, we'll cut to the end. Caitlin, do you have any final thoughts on the story?
No, I fucking hated it.
Okay.
Amen, sister.
I hated it in the middle and I hated it at the end.
Amen.
You know what I think is
It's too
interesting?
long.
That the author, like, he puts into this about how this guy gouges his eyes out, and you just read this, and you're like, I'm there with you, buddy. I really want to gouge my eyes out after reading this, too. It was too long, my eyes hurt. I'd rather just put bandages on them and call it a fucking day.
But that's
my final thought on that.
You take Iqbar, right? The last story we read, and how that character was going crazy. It was, and we all, I mean, at the time, I was like, this guy's crazy. There's no way to misinterpret that, right? But at least we all threw out how maybe it could be interpreted differently. This is just like, he's crazy. No, but it is a monster. Okay, there's nothing to fucking talk about, really. There's no ambiguity. There's no way to or interpret this in any other way. The ending completely ruins the story.
It was like he was making some great pasta, and as he was about to put the sauce on, he dropped the plate. That's it.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say he made the pasta, right? Put it in the pan. He boiled it to perfection, right? Made the sauce for perfectly. Made homemade sauce, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of spices, everything else, right? Put it on the pasta. Put it I'm sorry.
Oregano.
You want to take that again?
No, I'm purposely saying
okay,
oregano.
Gotcha. Oregano. He put it all together. He mixed it all together. It was really nice. And then he put it on the table. And he went, man, I can't wait to eat this. Then sat up, pulled his pants down, and shit all over it.
Worse, he puts pineapples on it, takes to his guest, he's like, it's Hawaiian spaghetti!
Oh, no.
Why? They do a pizza.
That's what it feels like.
We don't consider that pizza.
We don't talk about that. Oh, there's somebody out there that's going to be like, pudding pizza's good.
It's delicious.
After which I say, you need to
my
be
folks,
fucked up.
my folks love the thin crust pizza with pineapple and ham.
All right. Awful.
Awful.
Bad.
All right.
Bad.
My final thoughts.
Sure, go
This is
ahead.
going to be interesting. I'm actually very curious.
No, yeah, I've been looking at this. So, I didn't like how the story ended even when I first read it. And yeah, because yes, it does get rid of a lot of the compared to a lot of the bad things we've read, this is certainly a lot more interesting and a lot better created and better structured than a lot of some of the worst things we've read. This beats The Showers, it beats Jeff Kill by a month and a half.
Let me ask you this, though.
But the point, okay.
Like, wasn't it a little more disappointing for you? Because, like, for us, you bring us a little bit of everything, But this is you heard about the story, so you're only read it, and you read it, and it's disappointing.
No, it's not a great way it ended. I mean, I didn't feel that way about Russian Sleep Experiment the first time I read it through, but when I did it again with you guys, yeah, I kind of agreed with that. But the point, okay, basically what I'm saying is if I had to rate the story, I'd still give this like a 7 out of 10 overall. Reason being is because the thing that I like the most is that it's like you look back at everything and like how did this start? It started because there was a little bit of rain outside, right?
Not even that was like the second
I know
thing.
that was like the second thing. There was something that happened that's so mundane that I don't even remember what happened. But it really does a great job of building up to, how this character gets a little more crazy.
Yes.
He's still crazy even with these ending. He's still
But he's not.
nuts.
But
No,
he's
he
not.
is crazy.
He's not. Because everything he believes is actually real.
Well, not entirely, but true. But
Yes. Everything he believes is real. And I think that's where people are like, man, this story's great because everybody else thinks he's crazy, but he was right the whole time. He's some kind of genius. No.
He's a hero.
No, right. No.
But I see where John's going with
this is
though.
lazy. This is lazy. The twist is lazy.
Right. What John's saying is that the entire ride there, it started very dull.
Right.
It starts to get your attention a little bit. It's a slow burn.
Slow.
But the whole ride to the
It
ending,
does.
it's pretty good.
It
The
picks up.
appetizer's good. The main course is good. Then they're like, here's flan for dessert. And you're like, you know what? The first, the appetizer, and the meal were good. And just the ending
Right.
kind of... I'd still give the restaurant a good rating because of good
That's
meal.
what I'm saying overall.
I agree with you
I think
there.
if you, in terms of, because I think ultimately what I like with this show is I want to get more people. Ultimately I think we should try to get more people to write these things, which is why I don't try to completely dogpile on some individual. But the point being is that I think you can read the story and you can take a lot of great things out of it. Still, I think that ultimately the setup is very good. It's hard to write a story where there basically is only one character.
Right.
Sure, Amy exists. But is Amy really a character in the story? I mean, yes, but also, we don't really see her. She doesn't really do a whole lot. 99% of the story is just the guy by himself.
Right.
That's tough to do.
Right.
And obviously, again, it almost feels like the author's little brother got on the computer and wrote out this freaking ending. And I hate the ending. I truly
Right,
do.
and I think that's why I wanted to focus on that.
And maybe if, like Kevin said, this is actually one of the few stories that I would like to see adapted into a movie, because I think there's a lot of great things going on. And if you want to work towards that ending and work for it, then in a movie or like a show where you have episodes and a lot more time,
Right.
then maybe you can work up to something like that. But this entire story was working up to the man's crazy. And then in 3 paragraphs, he's not.
Right.
So it's disappointing, but like, Kevin said with his little dessert allegory, I would still give this like a 7 out of 10. It would have been a 9, 10 out of 10 had it not been for the ending.
Right.
Hell, even if you just wipe out those last 3 paragraphs and keep the insane asylum thing in the mix, I still would have given this like a 9.
I think if this story was shorter in some capacity and we got to that ending, I wouldn't be as... I would still be annoyed, I would still be upset, but I wouldn't be as terse as I am with the end of it now. Because this was a long fucking story. It was a long story, and it was a long story, and you're expecting some kind of payoff, and it just feels like the wrong payoff. Like, you're along for the ride. If this was shorter, if this was a couple paragraphs shorter, I'm not even saying cut out the insane asylum now. Or the twist, right? If you tightened it up in some other capacity, I'm not going to suggest how, because who the fuck am I, right? But if it was shorter, if it was, you know, a 45-minute read or half-hour read rather than like an hour and change, right?
Well,
I don't think
It was supposed to be 21 minutes.
but I don't think it's still long. It feels
it's
long.
a 21. It's supposed to be 21 minutes if you're sitting by yourself reading to yourself.
Which
is still long.
I don't think I would be as angry or upset with the ending if it wasn't so long-winded leading up to it.
No, absolutely. I agree. I didn't like the ending. But I still think that it's important for the overall analysis that you do have to be able to
No, and I agree. It's well written, just a little long in the tooth, and yeah, the ending's...
Right.
Shitty pasta.
Well, I mean...
Mundane pasta.
Well, you talked about taking a crap on the pasta.
No, it was a joke.
I call it shitty.
Alright, well, that's the end then. So, kind of like the ending of the story, this is just going to end really abruptly.
I'm going to go eat my ice cream.
Can we just end it like the Sopranos?
It's just middle of the sentence.
Alright, but this has been the story of Psychosis. Go check it out if you want. And but until the next story that we read, this has been myself, John, along with my friends Dylan, Dan, Kevin, and Caitlin. We will see you in the next episode. Take care of yourselves, and take care of